I hope the microphone is working. In this video I am showing a little program, an alternative to man I have sketched. I've tried running it here on Nix, but Nix is very selective about everything going through the repository, and I've never done that before, so I'm not entirely sure of just how long it would take. And I already have a couple of things that I want to do today, and I don't know if I'm in the mood to learn yet another thing right today, but I'll of course have to do it if I'll put it out eventually. But there would be so much work, like not a lot of work, but like a decent chunk of work before even worrying about that. Then if there would be troubleshooting there, it wouldn't make sense to learn that, forsaking, today's schedule, if I haven't even written the man pages, well, quote-unquote man pages. And the reason I'm making this video is because I'm deleting the program. So I'm making this video as a placeholder to look at in a few years maybe, and have a laugh at it, because the original idea is to have the command being called WOM. Get it? Like man, but WOM, because it's not a man, it's a woman. And basically it works just like man, and it will work just like man when and if it will be a binary. It's a script now in BASH. So you would just type like WOM, and again, this does not work on Nix because well, I could run it as a bash script, but not as a binary without going through the repository first. And then if the text file, it just opens a text file, not with less or more, but with nano. And if you don't have nano, just get nano. Everyone has nano. Even Windows can have nano. I think Mac can have nano. And if you don't like nano, you can just modify the program. And then you open it. And if you have permission to write, it says, well, if you have permission to write, it just opens it. But if you don't have permission, it says, how dare you? And if the file does not exist, it says no. And if the file exists, as I said, and you have permission to, sorry, not to open it, to write to it, then it just opens the file and lets you read it and modify it. And of course, the reason I am throwing this away is because I want to use Nano or any other text editor instead of less or more. And it will be needlessly hard to integrate that into Nano, the echo how dare you, or even echo no would be kind of easy, but echo how dare you would be a lot of work for very little functionality, and it wouldn't make a lot of sense to get rid of that but keep the no part. Since even like that, the program was basically focused on being lean, so to have that loose half floating around, that would have not made a lot of sense. I'm going to navigate a little bit. Here it is, you can see it, WOM man. If I go into WOM man, it should be here. You see 0A, that was actually WOM. I'm gonna run this on Linux Mint, so you can see it working in a practical way, because again, Linux Mint, NixOS does not let you put in things by the sides. It's either the repository or nothing, and I would only go there when I actually have a completed binary. Well, the binary is actually, I think I could do it today actually. Anyway, I'm gonna show you it on Linux Mint later, but since I'm dropping the whole woman humorism, I'm just having the functionality of it being very lean. So the problem with man today is that when you open man, you have this basically computer Bible that's very specific to your case in a way that will not necessarily be useful when you're gonna be working with Windows or even your own Unix like Linux, Mac, or BSD. If you're doing something that's like a little unrelated from the shell, and it's very big, it's very long, and it's very confusing for me at least. So what I would like A, because I'm calling it A now, so you can just, instead of going like man ls, that's the example that I wrote, you could go A ls, a bit shorter, saves you a lot of time when you're doing it 50 times a day. The reason that I'm making A is because wow, nice explosion. Anyway, if I can just bash A ls, you can see there's ls here, and it opens it with nano. ls displays directory contents. Now this in itself is of course just an example, but the way I understand commands, and I will I've been using pen and paper and txt files, not man. I've used man very little because it's very hard to navigate for me. This would be very easy for me. I would just open it with nano directly, or sudo a bin name to sudo open it as you do open it with nano to modify it, and I don't need to navigate anywhere. I'm already here. I can just modify it the way I understand commands. If I see first of all how is the command meant to be written when it's used, and then a brief one sentence explanation of the command, and then maybe here the various things you can append to it, and that's it. Like no chapters, no pages over pages of how many people were involved in the building of Adam and Eve and whatever. That's fine, but if I just want to use ls, I just want to know how to use ls, and I'm probably even in a hurry, and maybe I'm doing it for my job. If I want to read a history book, there's nothing wrong with that, quite the opposite, but I think I'll keep man as a reference because it's not even that good of a history book, but there's a lot of things you can just know the existence of from man. So you can just read man and see, oh, there's this thing and it's called like that. Then go on Google or the relative distro manual and search it there. And well, that's not really for history, but yeah, they include a bit of history about how the OS was developed, and it's bound to have some history if it's made by like even as little as 50 people. In this case, I didn't even bother because it's ls, but it has to be very clear to me if, like, for example, it's you can write ls dev sda1. You could do that, right? But if you're new to Linux or just new to a command and you see something like this, you don't necessarily understand if you're supposed to write these things as they are written here, or if dev sda1 is just an example, which it is, even if it has quotes, but the quotes don't help because sometimes you still have to use quotes. And this is laughable if you know it, but it's very hard to understand if you don't, and I think that's the problem with Linux or the computer world in general, is that it's all very easy once you already know it, but there's no one there explaining it to you. Usually you just have to guess until you guess correctly, which is very frustrating and needless and complicated, of course. So you could have like clear distinctions between these things, like you could have a little legend, because no one is going to read a whole page of legend if they're in a hurry. Just 3 legend symbols, like you could have like maybe this equals example text, like maybe, I don't know, again as an example, this equals new line, and this equals empty space. Again, these are things that are not always clearly visible with the formatting, and that you need to know if you're going to run the program, because of how CHR sensitive it is. So anyway, this was it for Nix. Now I'm gonna boot Mint.
Alright, so here I am in Mint. I'm gonna show you a little funny useless program that I've made. You can use a terminal, and basically it's silly alternative to man, and it's called WOM. So you go WOM, for example, ls, and what the fuck? See this? I'm missing something. Okay, I finally got it running. Are you ready? Boom. How dare you? And if I run something that doesn't exist, like WOM equality? No. And if I run it with sudo, then it works, and it's awesome. And I'm gonna leave it because these fun lines are not gonna work with Nano if I made it a binary. Or, the thing is, let me just get out. Okay, the thing is, how dare you should not appear after running WOM ls. It should appear after running WOM ls and having the file open like this, trying to edit it and trying to save it. But saving it is successful anyway, because to open it you need to run it with sudo. If you just run WOM ls, which is what you would usually do because it's shorter, faster, what you would usually use to just read, you cannot open it. You can do it with less or more, but you cannot do it if you pipe it through a text editor, because of course then it's the text editor. The text editor has its own rules, so you would actually need to modify the text editor in order to do that, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it for something so simple, I guess. I mean, if you have the time, why not? It can be funny, but that's more of if you already have your own text editor in development, which is not too far-fetched. Clearly some people did it. And yeah, that was it. Thank you very much. Bye.